Let's begin the day with this amazing view of Mount Fuji. Look at that. The storm that was here has passed, and it's left us with this snow-capped wonder. Absolutely amazing. And if we gaze along the mountains surrounding Shizuoka City, we can see snow at the tops of the near peaks and deeper back. This is Mount Ryuso right there in the center, Holy Mount Ryuso, where Yamabushi warrior priests once lived. It's rare to see snow up there, and then deeper back into the southern Alps, back up that valley. The day has begun. It's the 7th day of March, and today I'm going to be working on planning, talking to my wife about the logistics of the next several days, the next several weeks, because clearly we have a lot to do to settle into our new home. And I keep trying to lay down activities that are more like the settled life, and we're still not anywhere near the settled life. So I need to plan together so that we can take that on. So you can see my thoughts are still a little muddled, especially after yesterday's experiences and being, thrown off my retirement horse by a couple of hours of work. What a strange thing, after a whole lifetime of work, to have just a couple of hours toss me. So let's get home, have some breakfast, we'll walk the dogs, have some breakfast, and start the day. All right, so I'm going to kick off the day in gardener mode and slip in any gardening moments that I possibly can. Got the hat, got the gloves, got the gear, and the clippers at the ready. So let's start the day with a dog walk and some breakfast and 5-10 minutes here in the garden, whereas I can get it through the day. This is the different approach. Instead of expecting a half day in the garden, I'll take what I can get. Let's go. Okay, I'm gonna go work in the garden. Just when I told myself not to expect the time, suddenly I've got the time. Let's make good use of the time. All right, here's what I'm going to work on: the oft-promised, never delivered bamboo forest trail. As you can see, it's really not much to it. It's been cleared by the civil inspectors who check out this wall and maintain this wall. And I'm going to keep this trail because it accesses our garden in the back. I love the bamboo forest. And look at the palm trees up there. Can you see them? Those palm trees are indicative of farming activity in the past, as farmers would typically plant these palms around the areas where they would sit and hang out when they would take rest from their stuff. There's Rudy up on the roof. Rudy, it's me. He's not on the roof. He's on the balcony of my room. Rudy, it's me. Just me. Everything's cool. I've got him all set up there. He's got that safe little cagey thing now. He can hang up there and see what's going on. And watch me too. And so I'm going to work to clear this. I put a little soft thing for him to sit out there, a little bed, so he can sit out there and hang out. See these spikes? Like this? These are tough bamboo spikes. They'll go right through you. They're everywhere here. They're very dangerous. They're a real hazard to trip you up, and if you fall down, you're going right in these things. So I use this path a lot, and I'm going to clear them up. Let's get started. My tools for this job will be my American rake, which I didn't clean very well after the last rainstorm. I should clean my tools after use. I've got this little hand thing, which I've never used once, but I think I'll have a use for it today. My shovel, spade, if you like. This bad boy, which I've never used. Maybe I'll have a good use for it. And this thing, which has proven very handy. And where's my giant bow? There it is. This thing that I bought at the hardware store to kind of lever the roots out. It works really well, so that'll help me. Let's do it. Wait, hold on. let's tackle this one first, just one at a time. We'll make our way around and then the rest. Let's do it. Here we go. That's how they're done. Or at least that's how I'm doing it. There's probably a better way. Okay, we just got delivery of the package from the Kuroneko folks. So that's great. Yumiko's got the Wi-Fi. We can get that set up and have some data. Nothing but fishy business everywhere, huh? All these things knocking on the door. We got our router. Yay!
Still in the process of applying my makeup.
Oh, okay. The instructions are in English. So Yumiko handed it to me and said, you can set it up. So I'll get it set up. Okay, so I powered up the device. Let's follow the other instructions.
Once we reach the main screen, we can... No, low battery, please insert the charger. Oh, that makes sense. Where's the charger? Is this the charger? Like that.
We are all hooked up. That means I've got the Wi-Fi working. Yumiko's inside. She's got all connected up. And she can do her online shopping to, continue buying furniture for the house. I'm out here, which this means is that I can have this phone working and I can listen to my podcast on this phone while I'm gardening. So we are all hooked up. Let's get back to work. I decided to change gears and clear this area out right here because little Rudy is sitting right up there. I don't know if you can see him at the corner, right there, keeping an eye on me. And I want to let him know that I'm here so he gets used to the idea that if Papa's not up there, Papa's down in the garden and he can see me and he knows I'm here. So I'm going to switch gears and I'm going to clean this. Just clean. Okay, let's get to it. Can you see little Rudy up there? He's all set up on the balcony. He's got the door open. That's my room. That's his room up there. And I got him set up so he can sit on his little bed. He's got his water and he can watch me work if he wants. Or look out the other way and see what's going on the rice field. Rudy! Or ignore me altogether. It's lunchtime. Let's go. Pick up Dad first. Lunch today is at a place that's fast becoming our favorite. It's this old building. Look how decrepit that is. And they serve a really good traditional Japanese meal in there for 770 yen. So, like less than $5. Let's give it a try. Again. We're home now and back for our dog walk. I didn't turn the camera on at the restaurant to show you the meal, which is such a Instagram type of thing, right? But anyway, it's a good meal. Anyway, it was one of those experiences where, as a foreigner in Japan, I don't experience this that often anymore. 20, 30 years ago, much more often, where you feel like all the eyes are on you. So turning the camera on would have been, drawing them all so intensely. There's a couple of things that are happening that are a little worrisome to me with regard to the, experience of the old self that I used to have living in Japan. I didn't do well in Japan before. I'm fairly confident that I've overcome the demons that haunted me here. I'm pretty sure that that's the case. And if I haven't, I can keep them at bay. But I'll share with you more after the dog walk. I'll go out to the garden. I have some plans. Show you, we're going to do some groundbreaking. And maybe I'll talk a little bit about what these demons are. Is it just me, or are the birds on this column positioned differently than they were yesterday? They weren't in a line like that. Somebody has been messing with them on this seemingly abandoned house, but it's not abandoned. Interesting. What do you think, dogs? All right, well, our dog walk is done. I was going to head back up to the garden to do some work, but I need to send some information to my accountant for taxes. So I stepped inside, get on the computer and do that. But before I do that, I wanted to follow through on the promise I made to talk about the demons that haunted me before, which some of the folks that have been with me for a long time on YouTube are well aware of. And I wanted to read this comment, which came 2 hours ago, and which really made me think. Here it is. It's rather long, but long in a good way, because it's meaty. And there's a couple of things this person will reference, things that don't make sense to anybody. Like he'll say Lyle's brother, Gerd Speak, and Sons of Grizzly. Only the people that have been with me for the longest time would know what those are. Lyle's brother is another one of my online handles on YouTube. It's another channel, in fact. When I first started making videos on YouTube way back, it was 17 years ago or so, I started to make videos that are more like this, talking at the camera, speaking about life. And those didn't seem to fit on my Japan Adventure channel, so I created a separate channel, and I gave it the moniker Lyle's brother, because Lyle is my brother and I am his brother. And it was just a combination of names, and I like it. It fits. I remember when I got back to America, and people who knew Lyle, who knew me and my brother, would say, "Oh, you're Lyle's brother." I said, "Yes, I am." Anyway, off the point. So that was Lyle's brother was a channel for more, thought videos. Gerd Speak. Wow, that goes way back. Gerd is the name of a fictitious god that two friends of mine and I made in college as part of a kind of a school assignment, and we created a fake religion and to a sociology experiment, and this was in college, and it took off. We had people, it was totally fake, it took off, and people started asking us about having meetings and stuff. It was amazing. I was just more than the sociology experiment. We were trying to see if men or women were more receptive to religious literature. So we needed a religion to give literature about. So we made up a religion called the Gerd and gave out literature to see how men and women responded, how people responded to accepting that literature from either a man or a woman. That was the whole purpose of this. But in the end, we ended up discovering that people will believe anything, including the fake made-up religion that we made up. So Gerd Speak was some really esoteric stuff that I did back in Japan a long time ago. There's even a channel for that. And then Sons of Grizzly was a community that I put together long before I wrote Going Alone, kind of as a rallying point for a lot of the people that were contacting me. Grizzly was my father's nickname, and I wanted to impart some of my father's wisdom. Anyway, so here we go. Kurt, here's the comment that I thought. Kurt, the way you have talked, and keep in mind as I read this, in the last 48 hours, I've gone through a pretty significant thing insofar as someone asked me, a friend here in town, here in Shizuoka, asked me to fill in on some English lessons because their instructor is leaving Japan and they don't have anybody to teach them. And they asked if I would do that, and I agreed to do it. And I did it for the first time yesterday. And leading up to it, I'm retired now, so leading up to it, within like the 24 hours leading up to it, something was wrong. I was off because I did not want to do this. I did not want to work again, and I don't want to teach English. So here, Gert, the way you have talked in the past of things like discarding the past, moving on, not looking back, etc., common themes in my books and my videos, I'm really surprised you took the teaching job. That was nice of you to do that, but I think you should have stood firm on your principles and declined the offer. Me too. But if I hadn't, I would be learning this lesson, right? You have a very good reason for turning down the offer, in parentheses, retirement. But you might have a weakness saying no to someone that you feel you have a bond with, even though that bond doesn't seem to be that strong. This person knows me pretty well. I know this person well, but, not that well. You need to stand firm on only working until the end of April. I have. Thank you for the guidance. You were upbeat until, here's the part that got me, talking about my videos. Now, you were upbeat until the teaching job came your way, and now the old Kurt is starting to creep back in a bit. We saw 12 years ago, before I went back to America, how much you hated teaching and the depression that came out in your Lyle's brother Gert Speak and Sons of Grizzly videos. Hopefully the teaching will not bring out the depressed doom and gloom side of you again. 20 years ago, I quit a job that I had. This is this person talking about their experience. I quit a job that I had for numerous years that made me really depressed, and it invoked really negative thoughts day in and day out. So I know how it feels. This is a comment from Rockpile9523, someone who clearly knows me well. Thank you for that, Rockpile9523. I really do appreciate your comment. I was so moved by it, I haven't responded yet. Sometimes comments like that I have to say about my response as I collect my thoughts. I shared this with my wife after lunch, and she just looked at me and she says, yeah, you did become that person again. So you're right. So just the possibility of going back to what I was before I left Japan brought something back that I thought I had moved past. So I promised before we went on the dog walk that I would talk about some of the demons that haunted me, and those are those demons. I was not happy living in Japan before I went back to America. I attribute a lot of that to the fact that I couldn't, in my eyes, succeed in Japan. I couldn't sustain my family the way that I wanted to, much less help ensure my daughter goes through college, much less, prepare for retirement for my wife and I. And I strove to go back to America to realize all of those aspirations, which proved to be a very good decision, a risky gamble, but it worked out. So now that I've tamed all of those demons, so to speak, the haunting feeling that I wasn't a success in Japan, the sense that I couldn't live up to my expectations to fulfill my daughter's college or see my wife and I stay safely into retirement. Now that I've tamed those demons, I thought there were no demons left for me in Japan. Clearly, that's not the case. And maybe this is just me with too much time on my hands, reading too much into my own life, and dwelling too much upon it. But this is, after all, my journal of the retirement experience. So if you're tuning into these videos, you're here not just to see me having lunch and a beer at the convenience store on a Tuesday afternoon when everybody else is at work. That's not what this is about. This is about chronicling the experience of embarking upon my retirement in Japan and all that entails, both the good and the bad. And this is something interesting. So clearly, what is it? Clearly, what the hell is it? That's an interesting way to phrase it, Kurt. Clearly, it's the teaching or the working. I don't know which. It'd be interesting to see. Would I feel this way if my old boss called me up and said, we've got a 1 month gig for you to do, running a project from Japan for us back here in California? I don't know. I haven't tried that experiment, but this certainly did it. So I'll lay that out there. Finish for now. Open up the computer, take care of my taxes, and then I'll get back out to the garden. Thanks for listening. Walk down to the vending machine. I'm going to get myself a coffee here. I like this one. Oh, I got the hot one. Good. Sometimes I don't check. Anyway, it's been busy since lunch, since we came back. I stepped out. I recorded a little bit of my garden work before, and I just started working on the spikes, the bamboo spikes. And I wound up realizing there were a lot more bamboo spikes around the house, the house, but right where that path goes through the forest, there were a lot more right there in that entrance area there than I thought. And you know how it's like pulling a thread on a sweater, and before you know it, got a handful of loose threads. Sorry, I'm a little bit exhausted. That was really tiring. So I got myself a coffee. I'm gonna go sit on my little box in the garden and enjoy my coffee and just take in the atmosphere. You can come join me if you like. So it's almost 5 p.m. The evening chime will sound any moment now. Got my coffee. It's good. This will fuel me through the rest of the evening. The frustration of the last 48 hours is fading, though it was a cautionary tale as I discovered a side of myself that I thought I no longer had. It's still there. Well, now I know. Now I know what to do. I still have 7 weeks of promised lessons, but we won't see. I will do those lessons, and I will do them well. And I will not go into them with that. I will endeavor to not go into them with that same sense of apprehension that I felt, and dread even, because I know better now. I've worked this way through, so I say. We'll see. Anyway, I'm going to wrap things up on the work I've been doing, which is kind of a mess. Let's go take a look. Let's make my way carefully through the bamboo forest here. Like I said, I didn't make much progress on the spikes. Look, the water's just not even flowing. It's all gone. It's even dry up there in the rocks. So it flows well. It's dirty as all heck. I can clean all that out, and I will. But these spikes are all still here. See these dang things? So let's walk carefully. I'll show you what I worked on. I worked here. In starting to remove the spikes at the periphery, this is the edge of our property right here, this wall. And you can see this wall comes over here and it's so covered up. I'm going to free it. And I keep uncovering. There's one more right there, another one right there, and then more right there. I've got to get all of these things. And there's the chime. Can you hear it? 5 o'clock. Where's Chun Chun? Tweety. Over there. I see Chun Chun on the other yard. Anyway, so I turned up all this soil here, got out all the bits and traces of bamboo, which weren't a lot. And you can see all this gutter here, all along here. I've got to clear all that out. And I churned a whole lot of soil through here. And I did the same thing over here. It's all dry because I did this much earlier in the afternoon. But I cleared all this out and I made it kind of clean walking. You can walk through here now without tripping. I'm going to deal with these rocks and all this gutter and make it quite clear. Wish there was a little more space here, but life has its squeezes, doesn't it? So be it. So be the squeezes. All right, so Thomas is going to, my new friend, is going to meet me at the bench, probably around 8:30 or 9. He's going to be studying over at Starbucks, which is just across the street. If you don't remember, Thomas I met naked at the near the neighborhood onsen here. One night I was leaving, just stepping out of the baths, stark naked, and he was just stepping into the baths, stark naked. And we must have made quite a sight. He's much taller than me. I'm 5'10". He must be 6'1" or 6'2", and a handsome young man. Looks like a cowboy from the Midwest. And he must, there was packed full of people, old Japanese men that night, all lined up in the big hot pool. And they had a great sight of the two of us standing there stark naked, shaking hands, two Americans meeting each other in a foreign land. Anyway, Thomas and I have become friends, and he lives just down the street, and he studies at Starbucks. He studies Japanese. He's a very diligent, I call him a young man. He's younger than my daughter. And I told him that I hang out at the bench sometimes at around 8:30 or 9 p.m. And so we're connected online. He's going to come over and we're going to have a beer and talk. So I want to tidy up this stuff a little bit. I want to prepare it. Rain's coming tonight. Put the tools away, clean my tools, put my tools away. Maybe sweep the patio here. And get ready for the rain. And then get ready for dinner, dog walk, and then I'll go to the bench. I think Thomas was comfortable. He was on the video once before. I think he's comfortable with that. If so, I'll include him in the video. Oh, I am exhausted. Boy, what was I ever imagining that at 60 I could buy one of those old farms and maintain it That would have been a big mistake for me. I can't do that. I can barely handle this one small bit of land that we have. Okay, let's take a rest. Clean up dinner, and then beers at Family Mart. What is it, Thursday? I think so. Dinner tonight is curry with soup and tea. And of course we got our best Japanese TV and dogs. Se no, itadakimasu. Hey there, finishing the day in the bath. I had a nice time this evening at the Family Mart bench with a new friend of mine, Thomas, a 23-year-old young man from the United States, living and working here in Shizuoka. We're practically neighbors. He lives just down the street. We've run into each other twice so far, and this would be the third time, although the third time was deliberate. And it's a real pleasure to see him again. I must say that after the challenging day of, and really a challenging 48 hours of facing down work again after making the big change to retirement, it was nice to have a little time just to speak with someone frankly about his life. Being young and ramping up into adulthood, the years, the decades to come, hopefully for him. It was a shift of perspective. It took me out of my own shoes. Good thing to do. Easy thing to forget how to do a little bit when living the foreign life abroad in a community where there's not a lot of folks from our own country. Anyway, I just want to thank Thomas. We had a good time, even though it must have seemed like I was tired sitting there yawning. That's just because I go to bed so dang early. But in fact, I enjoyed every minute of our talk. And I look forward to doing more such talks in the future. All right, and for everybody that followed this video today, thank you so much. I wish you all the best. Be safe, but not too safe. Take care.